Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Brian Altano. I'm here with Sam Claiborne.
Hey, Brian.
Now, we're here at E3 2015. We'll be here all week long. We showed you games, we showed you press conferences, but now we're actually on the floor playing them physically in these booths.
And earning our wings.
Earning your wings, your literal wings.
Yeah.
That's going to go for a pretty penny on eBay someday.
Well, yeah, not if everybody gets to play Star Fox and earn wings.
You'll never get rid of it.
You can do on the show floor right now.
So you hit the Nintendo booth today. It's massive. It's full of games. You got to play a whole bunch of them. Now, one of them they announced today that I'm very interested in is 3-player, 4 swords type. 3 swords, some people are calling it.
Yeah, totally. I got to play that with 2 people, one of them who didn't speak English, and so it was really hard to coordinate because that game is about coordination.
Right.
And each little link in the game, you can choose a costume, and the costume actually gives you a special power in it. So if you choose the Kokiri Forest costume, you can, if you pick up the arrows, like in 4 Swords, you can pick up different items around, right? You can fire 3 arrows. So it's actually tied to the item too, because in one whole round I had the boomerang, and I didn't even have a special power.
Nintendo's getting really into the patches and badges type of thing that, we saw it in Splatoon, we saw it in Smash Brothers, of changing your costume and getting a little perk out of it. So that's kind of cool. How do you think it'll play out for somebody playing it by themselves?
I have no idea because every puzzle I played took 3 people, and it took 3 people to stop and be like, okay, everybody quit messing around. Yeah. We got to figure this out. They were actually I got stuck on a puzzle with 2 other people. Finally, when I switched out to people that were also speaking English, we still couldn't get past this one puzzle, and I ran out of time. Played for a long time, and that puzzle in particular required people standing on each other's shoulders. And when you did that, the lowest person could move the stack, and the upper person could fire. Middle person just hung out, I guess.
Yeah.
And so there was the stack of links running around, and
the
so
totem pole,
the top
right?
person, like a totem pole. Even to fire, though, they had to be aimed by the bottom person. So it was just people shouting at each other, like, no, aim at the eye, aim at the eye. It was really great.
That sounds awesome. It sounds like it's going to be really frantic. I'm glad that we work in a place where we get together and play video games.
Yeah, just like the last Zelda game on 3DS, this game does not look great when you see it on screen. And I'm talking about A Link Between Worlds.
Yeah.
It's that same style where it's like, this doesn't really look like a great Zelda game. But once you're there and playing it, it kind of melts away and you forget about it because the graphics make it play really fast and accurate and well, and it's an interesting game.
So it's a thumbs up for Hyrule Heroes.
Up, yeah.
Let's get into some of the ones that I think people were a little more skeptical about. Metroid Prime Federation Fighters. Now, it's mostly a 3v3 sports game, which is, I can't believe that's a sentence I just said.
In the context of Metroid.
In the context of Metroid.
Sense, yeah.
So you got to play that. What was that like?
Yeah, and they call it the Blast Ball demo. I mean, you start out as a little cute-looking Federation officer-looking thing from the Metroid universe, but nothing's realistic. It's really cartoony, and you actually hop into a giant power suit, like a mech suit, and that's what you're knocking this soccer ball around with. And the only thing that it has to do with Metroid is Metroid's in the name.
Yeah.
Right? And then it has the helmets look like Samus's helmet, and then there's a HUD that looks like Metroid Prime a little bit. But he doesn't even play like Metroid Prime because, one thing you have to do is you have to stop if you want to look around and shoot. So you stop and then you use the 3DS to look around, and you can't strafe and use dual analog because that's how Metroid Prime always was. But the weird thing is that you can lock on to the soccer ball, like Z targeting in Zelda.
Yeah.
So that kind of changes Metroid. If you could do that in a Metroid Prime game, and you can for certain things, but you really just are locked in. You can kind of move back and forth and just fire and not really worry about moving, except for in relative motion to that thing. And it made soccer kind of interesting. But yeah, that game is not a Metroid game.
Yeah.
And they put Metroid on it, and that just makes people angry.
So now Blast Ball is obviously just a part of what that game will be when it comes out eventually. Yeah. Did you get any glimpse of we hope. Yeah. Did you get any glimpse of a single player campaign or anything like that?
No, I pushed so many people on this, and they are not talking about anything else than Blast Ball and Metroid, except for that little sneak peek we got of the trailer for the full game at the E3, at their press conference or their direct.
So I'll ask you this: is Blast Ball fun?
Yeah, Blast Ball was fun because we were winning. It was me, Andrew Goldfarb, and Mitch Dyer, and we had a 3-0 shutout. And won because we knew a lot more about the controls than the other people, because we talked to the guys a lot more.
So if this didn't have Metroid in the title, you'd just be like, cool game, but
I would never play it.
Really?
I would never play it.
Yeah, I totally.
I went straight for it because it was Metroid in the title. Metroid Prime is my favorite game of all time.
Yeah.
So whatever the case, I'm going to give it as many chances as I can. Wow. We'll hear more about it.
So thumbs up, thumbs down.
That's a thumbs down.
Okay.
Check this out though. I sat in an R-Wing today.
Oh, right. Here we go. This is the good stuff.
Yeah.
You sat in an R-Wing. You got to play Star Fox Zero?
Yeah, Star Fox Zero. But the point here is that like that game, it's going to be, there's a learning curve to it because you'll use the gamepad as like a third analog stick. You're like basically moving with 2 analog sticks, moving around, moving the camera, but then you're actually aiming by shifting around your Wii U gamepad. So to like kind of put that in a context that makes sense, I felt like getting into a R-Wing cockpit in this like Disneyland-like installation they have at E3 was like a really good way to go about it. Because it pulls you out of reality. You're not in your living room trying to figure out this kind of unwieldy game. And it's unwieldy, honestly. But you're like, kind of in this like big environment where it's like the screens are huge and right in front of you, so you can actually look over your gamepad and see what's going on if you want, because your gamepad, doesn't have the exact same view as the screen. Like basically what I'm getting at is if you were really in an R-Wing, it would probably be hard to control. I can't land a plane, I've never gotten one. So like juggling those controls actually was kind of cool in the context of this big machine, but I'm worried about playing that game in my living room.
It's interesting because Nintendo spent all of the Wii generation and the Nintendo DS generation sort of simplifying controls and making them more accessible than ever. And I feel like they're kind of trying to show people that this gamepad is something that absolutely has to be paired with Star Fox, whereas I think some people probably just want a traditional, straightforward Star Fox. Like, were you able to play it at all without motion controls? Do you think that's an option?
I didn't see that as an option, but I would imagine they would have to provide it as an option because it doesn't feel like the actual Wii U gamepad like has to be doing what it's doing. Because honestly, I stopped paying attention to it a little bit, and just by my movements and looking at the screen and then kind of just moving my ship, the aiming reticle was lining up with what I needed to hit.
Well, that's good. That's intuitive then, right?
Yeah, but in this demo, the things that I was shooting, which are spaceships and robots and stuff, all like blew up really easily.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if like they turned it on like way easy mode or something to make it easier. Because if I really had to focus, here's the only cool thing that happened in that is that there's this big spaceship boss that came down in the Corneria level that I was playing, and it's like a big UFO boss. And I was just kind of talking to the demo guy while playing, and we were just having a good time. I was like, "Can I go in that?" And and he's like, "Yeah, actually, there's like a secret door. I think if you," and I totally flew out. This is an open fly area because some areas are on rails.
Sure.
Open fly area, and I flew over the side of it and kind of came down. And sure enough, there's like a like a Death Star type. They shouldn't have built this exhaust port, is what I'm saying. And you could fly in it, turn into a robot, land on the ground, and then run around inside this thing and destroy the core.
The chicken
very
walker
Star
thing,
Wars.
right?
Yeah,
that's very cool.
But the chicken walker thing was really hard to control.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
So what are your general what's your general kind of like, where are you at on Star Fox? Are you up, down, positive, negative?
I was like a really big fan of the very first Star Fox game, and I've never felt like the series has changed enough or like built on that game enough to be like super interesting. And I like this game as a classic Star Fox game, but I also have played this game a lot before, I feel like. And I'm happy that the Wii U gamepad's there, but it doesn't have like this huge coat of amazing textures and HD graphics like all the other games we're seeing at E3 have.
Sure.
So it also looks a little bit dated to me.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We played Star Fox, Zelda, and Metroid. That all sounds great, but there's a lot of little questions and quirks we have about all of it.
Yeah, and of course Mario Maker is great.
And Mario Maker is great.
So we played that last year, and we played it this year, and that's the thing that's like it's not necessarily new this year, but it's the thing to look forward to, and like a really cool element of the booth that we'll obviously get into more in other segments. But I love Mario Maker just from the little I played and what I've seen too. Like all this, just the art aspect of it alone.
Oh, it's awesome.
Wonderful.
It's awesome. Yeah, they were on our live show today showing it off. You can go check that video on IGN.
Absolutely.
Mario Maker's there. We've got impressions for Zelda, Star Fox, everything. It's all week long. We'll be covering Nintendo. We'll be covering every game on the floor. Literally every single one. Do you know how hard that is? There's so many games out there. But that's what we're good at. That's what we do. I'm Brian Altano. That's Sam Claiborne. Watch IGN all week long for all your video game coverage. We got you.